some matters. Let's. I want to move from enjoyment, and I want to talk about some real stuff. I don't know if you know anybody in Nigeria or anybody that lives there. Recently, their physical outlook, um, they're not, the price of food in Nigeria is showing in the individuals. They're looking thinner. The people with big stomach are looking, with big stomach. But the normal people are looking as if they're sick, malnutrition, the kwashoko, those images that you thought you could, because look, I had this on a show, and somebody called in from Benin to say kids, the price bag of rice is 80,000 to 95,000. Oil is 16,000 for 4 liters. One egg is 1,000. Three oranges is 1,000. When they finished, and then they said salary is 80,000. There's no middle class. You go 80,000 from there, and kids are now forced that if you have three children going to school, you try to give them something in the morning, and then you advise them about lunch to say, okay, if I give you this food, you can eat it in school when other people are eating, or you can leave it at home. So when you come back from school, you can eat this and go to sleep. So when they go to school, they have to watch other children who their parents can afford to give them food to bring back. I don't know about you, but are you concerned? Even if Dirty December, they talked about the price of food in Nigeria. Have you heard around your way about malnutrition and unaffordability of food?
Oh, absolutely, especially around the fact that the prices are so expensive that people are just not able to eat 3 square meal anymore. And it's so disheartening because it's obviously not a situation with food unavailability. It's not a farm, it's not a drought. It's just an economic crisis going on where people are just unable to afford the cost of living. It's outrageous. This and it's caused by so many different factors. Remember the fuel subsidy was taken away.
Yes.
So petrol costs more.
Yes.
People still have to provide a lot for themselves in terms of water, electricity, and all of those standard costs that are fixed costs. And then you have
The headsmen and
exactly insecurity around food. So a lot of the farmers are unable to farm properly because or harvest their crops because of insecurity. And plus there's also the global element of it, don't forget, because we're also experiencing a similar situation here with the cost of food rising every single day. So
Yes.
there's the global inflation situation going on as well, and just global you know uncertainty, really. But back home it's much worse because they are living and breathing it every day. And to layer it with the fact that there's just not enough jobs to go around, and if you're working, the salaries are really poor.
I like what you've outlined very important points. I look at the Nigerian government and say, is this all to do with the government? A friend of mine here, I tell this story all the time. He had a he had a plot of land, he had his house on the side. Every time he tells his people when he goes to Benin, you people farm here, you people farm here. They say no, their brother, they're not interested in farming. He came from England, he plant plantain, it's a plantation. He takes it very personal. Every time he go home, the same family members come to beg him for plantain. And when he give them, he say, I told you to plant. Say, is it because of plantain you are talking to? Please don't tell them. It's because of plantain you are talking to us anyhow. There is a general unwillingness to make do. I think blaming government in the midst of everything has become the order of the day. Sometimes you see places, it's just diaspora money that they're using to mitigate
Yeah.
for high prices for things that they can do. So I don't know how much. I know there's prices are out of control. We discussed it today. It's very bad. And when we even in diaspora, I think we need to channel our help to things like soup kitchen, things that provide, buy food, feed people.
Yeah, and the funny thing you mentioned about the fact that there is availability of land, but people are unwilling to use the space wisely. You'll be surprised. It's there are a lot of people who are actually using their land in that way. If
Mm-hmm.
they have a plot of land outside, or just, a lot of people I've seen especially on Facebook and TikTok, are actually leveraging that. But they seem to be the more educated ones.
Yes,
So it's
yes.
funny that the dynamics have changed, where farming used to be for poorer people, but now they are trying to move away from that stereotype, trying to head into the middle class, so they don't want to be associated with that. But then the middle class are doing that as, because they have this level of enlightenment,
Yes.
and are also very just more aware of where the world is going, so they are supporting themselves a lot more. So it's very
Y- y-
funny, but there's definitely an education thing around encouraging people to do more for themselves. But that said, I mean, I feel like what's there's the other thing that's also going on is that with carbs, people there seems to be an availability of carbs to an extent, but it's the protein that's the issue. So the beef, the chicken, the eggs, the fish are so expensive. And if this malnourishment situation continues to go on, we stand the risk of seeing more and
we
more, in the long term, children who are, going back to the days of Biafra with kwashiorkor and all of that, because their energy, they are deficient in basic nutrients.
I feel like we are there, and to a certain degree, and I feel the media, the narrative from Nigeria, even when you were talking just now, encouraging the locals to use their space well rather than complain of malnutrition. People can plant corn, people can plant beans, people can plant
Yeah.
yam in their backyard, and they don't have to be involved. But something is and this is the work of the media. This awareness you've spoken about. This is where the government, I think, should spend money. It's not all. The narrative has to be driven by the government,
Absolutely.
and then the people would follow. The narrative of headsmen preventing you, I think is driven by the government. Either they've conceded, so the people have also conceded that we cannot farm because the government has conceded, to headsmen. We might be looking at that sort of situation because I grew up in Nigeria, and I know what you can do with small 100 by 100.
Yeah.
I know what you can get from that.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of things in the good weather. And here we are, but people are definitely looking frailer, thinner. In real time, it's not possible to afford Nigeria. Unless you're getting money from, it's just low class and you're there.
Exactly. Fortunate. I mean, there are reasons how we got here, but if you are running a government where you're spending 500 million to win a seat, of course you're going to try and recoup your money before you start investing back into the
Aha,
into the
aha,
country. So
aha.
this is where it really has to get to the point where we go back to the basics and clean up our act from the ground up. Because if we are spending money to play politics, then it's very difficult for anybody with good intentions to come in there.
See, yeah,
They're going to
definitely.
recoup their losses first,
It's a
and so
business.
it's a
It's a
big
business.
problem.
Very nice to see you. Happy New Year. I
You
like
too.
that dress.
A lot of what's happening is quite organic. So I'll give you an example, right? We actually have built a niche and a standard when it comes to fashion. A lot of people travel to Nigeria for 30 December and they come back with suitcases of clothes, like, because
Okay.
Nigerian fashion designers are doing very well, and that's become really well publicized news. Everybody knows about Nigeria now.